Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting and Doing Stuff. As you can see, I am now doing stuff. I'm officially on my school holidays, so I don't have to worry about driving to work or anything, so hopefully you'll see me less driving and more doing stuff around the house. This isn't my house though, I will say that. I'm house sitting for my brother who's away on holidays. There's a disclaimer at the start of this podcast because I do talk about sensitive topics and I do swear a lot, so if you don't want to hear me swearing, I would change the channel, go and listen to something else. I've also started my Spartan project, if you want to go have a look at that. It's a very interesting, I think, to me, project. Of course, you might find it incredibly boring, but you don't have to watch that. I'm not going to hold you to that. But it's something to think about, or something to do. Yeah, the topic for today is the cost of living crisis. I thought this was a very relevant one, considering I'm currently trying to repair my clothes as part of the Spartan project. It's not my clothes actually, it's one of my dad's ones. My dad's old shirts, West Ham. One of the things I got left to me. Do you want this? Yeah, right. It's got a rip in it. I don't care, I'll fix it. Cost of living crisis. Now it is getting out of hand, to be honest. I mean, we all talk about inflation and all that kind of thing. Oh, I'm gonna have to apologize. You might hear my sewing machine at the moment because it makes like a noise, obviously. But I need it to sew. Unless I want to hand sew it, it's going to take forever, so probably not. It's getting out of hand right now because we're finding a lot of inflation is driving up the prices of things. For example, I just went to Woolworths and I got part of their cost of living appeasement crisis thing is that they've started selling, well, they didn't start, they've been doing it for years now, but they sell the odd bunch. Apples and pears and a few different types of vegetables. It's just all that odd shaped fruit that nobody particularly wants because it's either too big, too small, or it looks a bit odd and weird, and they go, oh, we'll bunch it up and rather than waste it, we'll sell it on, but we'll do it as a discounted price. That was the idea. But I just paid $6.30 for a kilo of apples and I'm just thinking, this is just the normal price. So I think they're full of shit now. I'm sitting there going, I really got on board with that when they started. I'm like, yeah, I don't like food waste, I don't like any of that shit. If it's not, what the desired thing is, then pass it on or, give it away for free. But for some reason, they've jacked up the price on that, so I'm gonna have to look somewhere else, I think, for that. It just seems a bit fucking cheeky, to be honest. Particularly when they're trying to do, the right thing. But they're still jacking up the prices, so that's going to be noted down in my Sparta project. I'll notice. How rude. So I might look into other things like Spud Shed tend to have good prices. I'll have a look into that as well, see what Aldi's doing or Coles, and I'll write it down. But it's interesting that you can take note of that kind of thing, because you wouldn't think it's much of a difference, but at the same time it's like it is to people who have not much. So it wouldn't matter to them because they're a big business and they don't care particularly, but it looks like they're doing the right thing. It's virtue signaling, to be honest. But, that's where you need to use your allegiances. So if Woolworths is being a bit of a bastard, don't use them. That's what I'm going to do. I'll cover ears because I need to use my machine. I'm not going to talk over the top of it because I know it's an irritating noise. This is an interesting skill I picked up when I was 10. So I've learned to fix and repair things with a sewing machine since I was 10. I feel it's like one of those lost arts. Unless, of course, you work in a factory where you make clothes and shit. But, they used to have things like home economics. My mum taught us how to use a sewing machine. Because she learned how to use a sewing machine and because, she herself grew up in poverty and it's a valid skill to have. But I find these days most people are just going out and, like for example, I just had a big tear there in the armpit on my dad's shirt and I just fixed it and you can't even notice that it's done. It's a very old shirt. He had it when he was in his 20s and he died when he was 69 at the start of the year, so it's a very old shirt, so I don't know if I'll wear it, but I'll definitely look after it. It needs a wash though, it's all crinkled. But I wouldn't throw it away, even though it's like a, nearly 50-year-old shirt. because it's sentimental and it needs looking after, and it reminds me of my dad, and you know, tokens. On the other hand, these dresses I made with cheap fabric that I just got from Spotlight. To be honest, if I included anything like dressmaking in my Sparta project this year, I would go with cloth that I get from an op shop. Either bed sheets or quilt covers, because even the Spotlight stuff is expensive now. For example, where is it? That's quilting fabric. That's some ridiculous price now. It's about 20 bucks a meter, and each of these dresses is about 3 meters, so you can imagine how much it mounts up. But the question is, why is it mounting up so much? There shouldn't be this much hassle when it comes to basically finding goods and services that are within a price range. People are profiteering, for sure, from the needs of the people. You know how they talk about supply and demand. If you have a low supply, there is a higher demand, because people have this idea of scarcity principle, where if they can't get it, it's more valuable. It's like when I talked about diamonds. It's like they've got all the diamonds in a vault, but they will only release some to the public because it keeps the cost and the value of the diamond up. Even though they'd be cheap as chips if you could release them all into the public. I mean, but then again, who needs a diamond? Weird people. You could do just as well with a moissanite. It's fake. So the question is, how are we going to alleviate the cost of living crisis as well? At the moment, I've started that Sparta project where you could pick up some tips and things, and it's basically what I did to save up for my deposit on my first apartment. Well, not my first apartment, my second apartment, my first independent apartment. There you go. And there's some tips in there as well. It's just basically replicating what I did in my childhood with my parents when we were going through the poverty cycle, for example. When we're on Centrelink in and out in food banks and things like that. It's mainly, you know, situated on not wasting and trying to find use for things that can be used again. Sorry, people circling my brother's house. I would love to see more businesses actually dropping things like the cost of living. I mean, it was just been a knock-on effect since, I don't even know how far it goes back as well, because we've had a few recessions now. So where is the turning point for when it actually started? Because we all say, oh, it was when Russia invaded Ukraine and the petrol prices started going up. And they're going, well, there's also the COVID flu, which also stuffed up a load of things. And there was also, you know, there's a few things that have gone on as well. It seems to be a clusterfuck of excuses for them to drive up prices, and it's ridiculous, because you're finding that people aren't being able to afford even keeping a roof over their head or food on the table, and it's stressing out a population. The only thing that's going to lead to at the moment is some kind of insurrection. That's all I can see happening. I mean, if you look back far enough, you've got examples of what happened when they drive up the prices on taxes and things like that to fund wars and things like that. You've got the Peasants' Revolt, you've got there's so many. All you have to do is go back and look through time and history and see that funding wars through on poor people's backs or broke people's backs is not going to be useful. I don't think they're thinking. Yeah, strange people. What I love is at the moment they've got like this false sense of patriotism. The rich people. They seem to think that, you know, these people that they have shat on financially, essentially by driving up the cost of things, have some sense of allegiance to them, and they'll go and fight for them. You look at the news and all the interviews and things like that on the cost of living crisis, and then in parallel to like the idea that UK, for example, are going to start asking people to do a year of army service or something like that, and it's ridiculous. The responses we're getting at the moment is just like, they don't like their own government. No one likes their own government. No one. I've been looking all over Like all different countries at the moment are fucking with their government, or the government's, or getting pissed off that the government's fucking them over. I've noticed. It seems to be like little spot fires of revolt. So obviously the cost of living is not helping everyday people. It's not going to support, you know, the government in proceeding with what they're trying to do. I don't know what they're trying to do. It feels weird, to be honest. It feels like they're trying to wipe out a large population of people, is what it feels like. It's of a certain group. And it seems to be, you know, you think about it, all the homelessness in America, for example, where COVID lockdowns and recessions and things like that, people lost their property and things like that. They went off into the streets, and now it's becoming illegal to be homeless, or if it wasn't already. So even living in vans and things like that, you can get in shit for. But there's no support network, there's no welfare system really that gets them back on their feet again, and the healthcare service is ridiculous. So if they get sick, it just gets worse. They don't seek treatment because they can't afford it. It's a system designed to shit on you. It's weird. It's not as bad in Australia, but to be honest, the Australian government is influenced by American government. Whether we like to admit it or not, we've got the Americanization. We used to have the anglicized influence because you had a load of people coming over from Europe and the UK, where it was back in the 50s, the £10 pounds, where it was a very English way of looking at society, and it was all about welfare and things like that, and supporting the majority of people. Not everyone, but the majority of people. But then you've got Americanized versions where everything's sort of been commodified, including healthcare and public resources and things like that. And it's fucked the people, because they've driven up the price of these commodities and no one can really afford them, because they're trying to make some kind of gain on it in terms of funding. It's not a social good anymore. It's a means to make money off of already broke people, which is disgusting. Sorry, that's loud. But you know, basic food, nutrition, basic food, healthcare should be a right to living within a society. You should have the rights to that. It shouldn't be commodified. It shouldn't be sold to the highest bidder. It should be a basic right. Same as the welfare system. You are human, you are living on this land, you're part of this community, you deserve to be financially supported to a certain degree. Not so much that you exist on it only, because it stops people being willing to shoot for more. It just nullifies them, I've noticed. As soon as you become comfortable in your situation, you're not going to want to do anything else. I mean, it does suppress any kind of feelings of insurrection or anything like that. Because, yeah, we're happy here. I mean, if that's what you want, to keep your people numb, then go for it. I mean, what did they talk about with the Roman era, where you keep your people happy with gladiator fights and things like that? It stops them rising up against you, particularly when you're doing the wrong thing in the background, but they can't see it. So, you know, if you want to keep them happy or keep them numb, but at the same time, if you're driving up the cost of living, you're just pissing them off, and their wages aren't matching the cost of what you're doing because you're getting greedy with your money, and no one can afford anything. They can't afford the basics, so you're going to get a lot of angry people with nothing to lose, I've noticed. And that doesn't particularly bode well. I mean, I found it hilarious, and it's horrible as well at the same time, that they've got a bunch of, in America, and I always reference America because they've got it the worst off at this current time period, I think. Because they're meant to be like this first world country, and they're cutting edge and all this great thing, and they keep talking about make America great and shit like that, and going, it's never been great, but all right, you're trying for it, at least your ego is saying that you think you are. They've got a bunch of people like the veterans, where they're highly trained individuals, conditioned to kill things without a sense of conscience, because you have to detach from the experience, and then you've made them penniless and homeless and nothing to lose. It's just like, guns are aplenty in that country. Why would you do that? If anything, those are the people you need to keep calm the most. It's like, They already know how to kill people. They probably have already. So it's like, why would you piss them off? It just doesn't make sense. I don't think they're thinking, you know? I just don't think they've got any concept of what they should be doing. They just think, oh, once you're out of the military or something like that, then you're just gonna, you know, ease back into public life and it's gonna be fine and you won't have this fucking conditioning in your head that you need to, you know, throw fists to survive. You'll be fine because laws, it's like, laws mean nothing in the field. I mean, the fuck, dude? If you're trying to survive and now you're putting them into a survival situation, they're going to fight back. It's just dumb as shit. Just, it's the dumbest shit. Like, we've got laws, you'll get arrested. Yes, but you'll be dead first. You're not seeing the problem here? Don't piss them off. You just loaded the gun and then let it out in the fucking public. It's absurd. I don't think they know what they're dealing with. I don't think they understand the people enough. I don't think they understand what the fuck they've created. The situation they've created. I mean, in American culture, you've got this gung-ho attitude where everything can be solved with fists or guns or bullets, or if you've got a problem, I'm just gonna shoot it, because it's residual from the Wild West fucking mentality where all the pioneers and the colonials came through and went, we're taking this land with guns and cowboys and shit like that. That's residual. It spread across the America, and now I've got it in their culture, in their psyche. But it doesn't solve anything because, you know, there's always the person with a bigger gun. Or it's a case of you want to appear that you've got a bigger gun without actually having a bigger gun because, you know, everybody's afraid that someone else might have a bigger gun. You know, it's all bullshit. I just see a lot of scared people. And their reaction is to shoot first. Does not solve anything at all. You all end up getting shot. And I tell you what, not all gunshots are lethal. And sometimes they just fucking hurt. Now we're all fucking shot and in pain and dumb as fuck. And no one can afford healthcare. So it's like, think before you fucking act. Oh god. It's that stress on the people that they're hoping doesn't fuck up. And they're hoping that they can spill enough lies and stories to keep them satiated and focused on a common enemy, which is obviously someone who previously had a history of looking after them. Funny enough. It's like... I mean, basic human rights. That's what I don't understand, the concept of libtards. It's like, these are the basic... This is the subgroup. I mean, they get a bit weird and wonderful with the furries side of things, but this is the subgroup of your political parties. Subgroup? That gave you and fought for human rights. It was the conservatives that thought of things like conscription. Fuck your human rights. We want your body to go and do this for us. It was the libtards that stood up for you having healthcare, having access to food, having houses, like all these things they take for granted. And then they shit on the people who gave it to them. It's like biting the hand that feeds you. I don't understand their political system over there. It doesn't seem to make sense. Weird. It's I don't know. Oh my god. I mean, given enough time, the conservatives would probably take the guns off the street, to be honest, because they're afraid of what the people would do with them if they're pissed off enough. You think about it. You've got enough people spouting my rights, and the pressures of not having any money or any food or access to resources, and their overdeveloped sense of entitlement. What are they going to do with those guns that they prize so much? You're fucking stupid. Well, I'll tell you, we all know where. So, I do wonder if that's why they're concentrating on building bunkers at the moment. Yeah. Anyway, let's get out of that because it's a bit depressing. They know what to do. They just. Too much like effort. Yeah. Everything things, the Instagram generation, all the appearance of giving a shit and not actually giving a shit. Everyone's afraid, so they cover it up with this machismo. Shit. It's a load of shit. A lot of people aren't able to put their money where their mouth is. Funny enough. So, cost of living, what can we do? Besides, alright, if you want to alleviate the cost of living, obviously you're going to have to share information and experiences like I've done. I don't think there's any reason to hoard information that could potentially save someone else, or even just save someone else some money. We should be trying to survive. That's part of human nature, survival instinct. And the way we develop things like common sense is to share information through experience. Of course, there were always those people that were the guinea pigs that we had to use, but you know, we try to protect people these days, but some dumb fucks get out there and do their shit. Hence the reason we develop things like laws, to keep them from doing the dumb shit, but you can't stop them if they want to go. Oh yeah, I just ripped it more. Oh. But, oh, that's my favourite dress. Oh. This fabric is so worn, it's starting to fray. But I've got some patches for that, some iron-on webbing. But it's like, you should be sharing information if it leads to the survival of the population. The question is, why is people like the organisations like the government creating tension amongst the people when we should be banding together to survive? We should be sharing resources, we should be sharing information, we should be, if only for like a herd safety mentality, we should be trying to keep. Now the reason we're getting pegged against each other is because it's profitable to promote conflict. You think about it, who stands to benefit from the competition amongst the masses? Competition for people fighting for employment, for example. It's not that the businesses, big businesses, get the best kind of people, it's that they get the people that are most willing to do the least, to take on the least, the worst treatment, I should say. If you're in a cost of living crisis and you've got no money and you're looking for a job and you'll do anything to survive, then you'll take work where you can get it, right? Businesses benefit from that, and they can assume they can treat you like shit, which is why we had to develop things like unions just to sort that out. Realistically, the unions are meant to step in more and defend the people so that they have basic human rights on the job. If you're working some ridiculous amount of hours, that's what another thing I don't understand is, like, in America they've got the tipping system. It's like, why aren't you just paying your people properly? Why are you making the customers take on the responsibility of the business owner to pay their staff? It doesn't make sense, because in that case all the customers can say, fuck this, we're not shopping here, and go elsewhere, and then you've got a bunch of people out of a job because the business didn't survive, because the owner got greedy with paying its workers. It just doesn't make sense, and yet it's throughout the country, so it doesn't make sense. That is the responsibility of the business owner. If you're needing people to work your product, that's a you thing. That's not a fucking consumer thing. That's part of your overheads. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And I feel sorry for people that are working on tips, to be honest, because clearly it's not working and they're not surviving properly. Especially when they're having to work 2 or 3 jobs. I don't understand that at all. And food stamps, what are food stamps? It's like, is that because they don't trust people to be responsible with money in their hand? Because the welfare system in Australia is a case of you get a certain amount deposited into your account, or you get like a card. I remember when I was a student, you got like a card and you got money loaded onto it for groceries and things, but those were in extreme circumstances where people were like drug addicts and stuff. It's like, they can't be trusted with money, so you have to get like a card thing instead. And that's only, I think, if you got like convicted of stuff. So food stamps. Oh my God. You know what annoyed me the other day is this woman had this initiative to use her food stamps to make products to sell in a bake sale thing and to make profits off of that. And she used the funds obviously to survive. And then she got in trouble for it by the police. And I just think that's ridiculous. I like that she had the brains to do it. I'm going, fuck the police at this point and give her a medal. Teach her, get her to do a masterclass on how to survive on food stamps. Do it. I would love to see what this woman can do. That's ridiculous. Why are you punishing people for using their initiative? Shows you what the priorities are. Stupid. It's almost like they want to keep them from growing, you know? They don't want them to survive. They don't want them to flourish. It's just keep them at a pace where initiative isn't rewarded. It's very strange. Why you offer this charity and then you punish them for using it? It doesn't make sense. Can you see more rips? No. Oh, that'll get a patch. See, some of these dresses don't actually need repairing. I'm just checking it over. Yeah. Cost of living crisis. I mean, I was born into poverty, so I wasn't born into it. There was the promise of having a decent upbringing, but my parents failed miserably. My mum was meant to be this stay-at-home mum, and my dad is an accountant, was an accountant, so he was meant to have like one of those really good jobs. And they migrated from the UK to have a better life in Australia, basically. But my dad had Peter Pan syndrome and couldn't hold it down a job for more than 2 years. So my mum had to step in when I was about 12. He had a supposed nervous breakdown when I was about 8. And that's when we started having to sign up to welfare and food banks, and we just could not hold down a job at all. And you know, it's been an interesting ride. It teaches you the value of money. Not in a sense that you need to hoard it, but in a sense that it is a tool for growth. It is to be respected and never wasted, because you never know when you're going to get it again, basically. And those people that hoard it, I find, are absolutely fucking disgusting, because it could mean someone's life. It could mean saving someone. It's ridiculous. You can see people on the street dying in the street because they can't afford it. I mean, they can't afford a roof over their head, dying from freezing to death or starvation, things like that. Things that shouldn't exist in a first world country. Shouldn't exist anywhere, to be brutally honest. According to the Geneva Conventions, shit like that. You have a right to exist. But for some reason, there's a whole bunch of people that just want to hoard shit and fuck everyone else. I mean, ultimately, it will be their own demise, because the universe rebalances itself every time, which is why we've had so many wars and uprisings. But, you know, she's like, fuck you guys. What did my dad used to say? It's like, you gotta have a war every now and again, or a revolution every now and again, because it stops the scum rising to the top. So you're like, and I didn't like it then, but he was just fucking right. Although you gotta make sure that the scum actually gets involved, and doesn't just sit on the sidelines in their ivory towers making sure everybody else dies. That's the problem. If you can identify that they're not getting involved themselves and they're willing to let you go and die for their cause, then that's the problem. Don't involve yourself. And we saw that with the Vietnam War. We saw that with a lot of wars, actually. The sense of patriotism or allegiance to your country is non-existent, because we know that we're not being patriotic to the people we live with or anything like that. We're being patriotic to a bunch of people that are profiteering off of war. They make and sell arms, which then blow us up. So it's like, that's not helping us at all. But they're profiteering off the arms. and they're profiteering off of us going and using them on us or on each other. So it's not a case of this is good for anyone, because it's shit. It's a game to keep the population down, to keep their money more valuable, because it's not distributed amongst the poor. If you think about it, it keeps the, what do they call it, gross national GNP, gross national product? No, something like that. It's how much money in the world there is distributed amongst the people. And when they talk about the 1%, it's the 1% has the majority of it. So, you know, keep the poor people down. And if they don't like it, we'll start a war. Yeah. Stupid. Anyway, so I don't agree with it at all. So all it does is promote hatred. And there's no progress with hatred. Everybody's fighting each other. There's no time or energy to devote to things that could further us as a species in more holistic terms. Everything is a fight for survival, seemingly. Not the fat cats, of course, but you know. I might hand sew that bit. They don't give a shit whether we live or die as long as we can keep passing them money. It's very cynical, isn't it? Think about it. What can I, like, how much money did Trump, for example, just spend on giving, was it planes or bombs to Israel? And then they said, we don't want a war on the Gaza Strip, and then you just gave them, it's like, but you don't have a healthcare system that supports your people, and shitload of your people are going into recession-like conditions. So you're not looking after your people on the home front, but you're willing to give tools of destruction to someone else, and inevitably they'll come and get soldiers in to sort this out, which will get blown up by the very arms that they sent over. So it's like, it doesn't make sense. They don't care if you live or die. They don't. It's very weird. And I always thought, if you're going to be in a position of power, it should be like an extended family. It's you look after your people, whether they're cold, hungry, or starving, or homeless and stuff like that. You don't send them off to die because this week you feel like having a tantrum about some shit that's not really your business anyway, because you don't even live there. So it's like, it just seems odd. Always got to get involved, but it's not your fucking business. All it is inevitably is a dick measuring contest, if you want to go into it. Dick rockets and dick measuring contests, and how many people I can kill to prove that I have power over these people, and to prove that I'm right, even if not. Because everything he does at the moment is going against his own survival mechanism, including, looking after people who could very possibly have him removed. You ever seen that movie Perfume? Right at the end? You'll be consumed by your own shitstorm you created. I don't think he quite understands that. Anyway, cost of living crisis. I keep going to politics, sorry. Probably boring the tits off you. Cost of living crisis. Where did it stem from? Greed. Very much greed. Very much people trying to profiteer as much as they can. Woolworths and Coles currently are going through some kind of legal issues where they're being investigated for jacking up the prices unnecessarily on their items. In order to profit off of the cost of living and scarcity principle, basically. They were saying, there's not enough fuel to collect all these items and send them to stores, so we're having to pay more for fuel just to get the goods from so-and-so to so-and-so. And that's why we're jacking up the price. Meanwhile, there's still dividends being paid to shareholders in crazy levels of exponential growth. It's like, how is there such a need for the cost of petrol? A need for increasing the prices if you are paying these guys in increments that increases every year. So it doesn't make sense. you should stabilize the dividends. Stabilize the dividends you're paying out to the shareholders and reduce the cost of the items on the shelf. If you do that, people will buy more because they've got that how long is it going to last mentality, so they go and stockpile like I do. I'm only human, I do the same weird shit. For the most part, I'm human. Think about it, they're undermining their own thing, because when it gets too costly, people won't buy it, so they'll look elsewhere, and that's why places like the Spud Shed is doing so well. Because they're not getting greedy, but if they do and they jack up their prices, you'll find that people are not willing to pay that either. So you don't want to jinx yourself, pricing yourself out of the market. I still maintain that, you know, we should be working together communally in order to reduce costs and things like that, sharing goods and resources. Anyone who's good at that, oh, it's my favorite show, one of my favorite shows. I don't know how old it is. Extreme couponing. Oh my God, the miracles those fuckers do. They'll have this, like, some of them has got like albums of these coupons that are cut out of magazines and things like that, and they'll just take it to this shop. I don't know if it's Piggly Wiggly. I love that word. Who thought of Piggly Wiggly? You're awesome. It's even fun to say, Piggly Wiggly. They'll take it to something like that, and they'll just hand out these wads of coupons and things like that, and then rush all these groceries through, and it just, you watch the till go ding, 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 and it just reduces the cost of that. If you're ever able to do something like that, I would develop some kind of a community co-op or something like that, where you exchange the goods you got for free. Because at the end of these huge shops that they do, it only comes out that they spent like $5 or something like that, and it's ridiculous. Extreme couponing. If you can, go and look at it on YouTube. It's wonderful. I would fucking love it. I wish they had something like that over here. But you could be feeding so many people, you know, with these two fish and loaves, right? Through couponing. If you just put your brain to it, that's what gets me. I love that. I'm sitting there thinking, if you want to be what is perceived to be a good Christian, for example, if you're into that, that would be ideal. You should be sharing that stuff. I mean, think about how many people are going through a crisis right now that can't afford anything. And you turn up with all these free things that you got because of couponing and your brain and skills, and you're willing to share, it would definitely build a sense of community. You should definitely be doing that. That is, you know, what is considered Christ-like, if you want to go that way. Or if you want to be a light worker, it goes that way too. I mean, even Tupac was a light worker. We should be looking for things like that, building alliances, building information banks, resources. It's only when, you know, they peg us against each other because of some ridiculous thing like gender, sex, sexuality, ethnicity, things like that. They're trying to create enemies amongst us so we don't bind together and come up with ideas to survive. I think honestly they're afraid of it. They don't mind dishing it out, but they don't like getting it back. So that's essentially a bully, I think. Bullies do that. They like picking on people, but you punch them in the face, they don't like that. They cry. Look at that, Jim. So yeah, I would say if you're facing anything like that, you could essentially, you know, figuratively punch a bully in the face by starting your own co-op. It's an idea. I know I used to live in a place called Fremantle and down in Southend. You would find all these people in vans, and they're either, my heritage is gypsy, so they're either like gypsies. Well, I don't mind that, that's pretty adventurous. My people have retired from that. We bought houses. But they're obviously like that nomadic kind of people, which I find it cool and interesting. Or they're homeless people and they have no choice but to live in a van like that. But what they used to do, and you'd walk through, I used to walk from Southend down to the big markets because I just like that walk. But they'd go fruit picking up north in Australia or something like that, and they'd bring back these massive boxes of like avocados and mangoes and shit, whatever they brought back down with them, because they get paid, but they also get bonuses like fruit and that. And they'd come down to Southend and they'd start, they'd trade them. Or they'd say just free, because otherwise it's going to go off, isn't it? And you don't want to waste it. But they just leave these boxes of stuff on the beach or near the beach, and people walk past, grab a few, and then keep walking. And it was great because it's developed a sense of community, particularly amongst the van people. Unfortunately, now they've introduced a van law where you're not allowed to park your van in the car parks and stay overnight and shit like that, which is ridiculous. But once again, the government is screwing over poor people. I don't know what they're worried about. Maybe some kind of drug use, or that's their excuse, I think. But, you know, what they don't want is us to build communities. Because, you know, seagulls attract. Well, food attracts seagulls, right? God forbid we should let the seagulls survive. I know I have said before in the past, don't feed the seagulls, and that's not the kind of seagulls I meant. I meant like parasitic assholes that are emotionally, psychologically abusive. I did not mean don't feed poor people. Feed the fucking poor people. Because there is going to be a drop in crime if you do, believe me. The only reason there is an increase in crime is because people are desperate. If you show that you do not look after your people, the desperation increases. People have less to lose, they're more willing to commit crimes. You ever read Utopia? Just wondering. But, you know, they set the conditions and then wonder why people react. I find it strange. It's like you created this clusterfuck. This is called consequence. Did you look after your people? No. There is now an increase in crime. An increase in fear. People don't feel safe to interact with each other. There's hostility, which breeds more hostility. And there's no sense of community for survival. It's very, very odd. I don't like the hypocrisy as well that goes along with it. I was watching this thing on YouTube. I watch a lot of weird things. Where this woman was going around asking things like churches and stuff if they got baby formula. Because she was facing her own crisis, obviously. She didn't have any money, couldn't afford it. But it's interesting to see how many organizations she asked and how many didn't want to do anything about it. And I thought, these are organizations that are supposedly designed to help. Why are they refusing at all? I found that weird. All it does is breed hostility. Because my first thought was, and it was because I'm part human, what a prick. Why are you not helping these people you profess, your flock, that you profess to look after and to sort of called love and things like that? I got pissed off. I'm going, this is the first thing you should be worried about. I mean, think about it, it's even Jesus was a baby, darling. This baby in itself can't get formula. What's your fucking excuse? I don't get it myself. But I don't think that's the organisation. I think that's more down to the individuals at this point, because you are participants in the play. If you choose to act this way and not help, then that karma goes to you. It doesn't go to the organisation. And that's basically how you're going to get judged as well in the long term. When we all get to the other end, it will be the things you've done, not the things you said you're going to do, which are going to matter. So, you know, and there were a lot of organisations that this woman looked into. It wasn't just Christians in the church and things like that. There was quite a few. It was varied as well. It was like social good organisations and all kinds of religions and things like that. I'm sitting there going, well, it's interesting that they profess to do these things, but can they put their money where their mouth is, or are they just going to hoard it? That's the real question, isn't it? I wouldn't rely on it. You know what's funny though? These criminal organisations I found are also fucking interesting. Things like the cartels and that are supposed to be evil, were actually looking after the people better than the government was. I find that very strange. And even the mafia were the original honourable men, funny enough. It's only when, you know, drugs and all that shit got involved that they fucked up. So, you know, be mindful of who's demonised in these times. Judging a book by its cover sometimes backfires. I just find it weird. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It's all frayed. Might have to iron it into position. But again, look at what people do. Don't look at what they say. Look at what they do. Because ultimately that's what it's going to come down to, cost of living. Or alleviating it in some way. And look for people that are doing the right thing and go and work with them. Go and make a co-op with them. Don't go for virtue signalers, people who claim to have concern. Oh my god. Liam Neeson, one of my favorite fucking actors. He's so annoying right now because he keeps talking about this fucking kids in the Gaza Strip needing these peanut butter packs. They're for UNICEF or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, UNICEF. Woo, we're going to save the Gaza kids. You are a multi-millionaire. What are you giving? Because at the moment he's marketing to all these people that have no money, cost of living crisis, we have no money. And he's saying, can you donate some money so we can get these peanut butter sachets or whatever they are onto the Gaza Strip so these kids can survive. It's like, we are all agreeing with you, they should be sent because kids don't belong in that shit. No kid belongs in anywhere near violence or guns and shit like that. We all know that. Even when the high schools do their thing in America, we all go, what the fuck? So, what the fuck? And yet they still haven't fixed that. But it's like, they get celebrities that are worth millions, if not billions, to advocate for these things. It's the celebrities that have the money. Why are the millionaires and billionaires asking poor people for money to go and fix this problem? It's like, why aren't you fuckers doing it? It doesn't make sense. It's like, you were given this money for a reason. It is not to make yourself look better than everyone else, because that's obviously a perception thing anyway. I think you just know, I won't even say it, but to hoard money, you piece of shit. It's like, there's no honor in that. You hoard it and you lord it over people's heads and you say, fuck everyone else, I've got more, I've got the most toys or some shit like that. You genuinely a piece of shit while you're watching other people suffer for no fucking reason when you could help it, you choose not to. That bugs the fuck out of me. But you get the celebrities, and why are we celebrating them when there's nothing to celebrate? They're just being assholes. Doesn't make sense. It's the deifying of humans that are corrupted. And they probably know they're corrupted, they just don't want to admit it because their ego says, I'm worth celebrating. And you're like, no you're not, because you're actually quite cruel and sick. All these people suffering, you could do so much to help them and you choose not to because you don't want to diminish the amount you have in your bank account. Because it might make you look less to your other psychotic friends because you've got less zeros in your bank account. Losers. I mean, even in westernized culture, you've got this idea where people should be aiming to act not only with kindness, but with like super, think about all the X-Men and Superman and all this kind of thing where they're doing good and they're saving people and you could save people. You've got the means to save people, Liam. The fuck are you doing? Oh, I'm just sitting on a camera telling poor people to go and do it for me. And it's like, asshole! Annoying. It's just rude. How dare you? It's what's known as virtue signaling. It's pretending to give a fuck without actually giving a fuck. And so many celebrities do it because they think just giving their image or their face will actually make people do it. It's like the practical situation is no one has the money even if they fucking wanted to. So why don't you take your millions and your billions and fucking go and help them yourself because you're wasting everyone's time now. And you're just making yourself look bad. Because it's like you're lying and slapping these poor people in the face. Both the people that are being fucked up in the Gaza Strip, but also the poor people at home are all like, we literally cannot afford to do this. Makes me angry. It's table flipping worthy. It's the you liars! You're liars! They're lying! And my autism kicks in and it's like, they're lying! Liar! Got Invader Zim in my head. Liar! You say these things, your mouth is moving, but all it says is lies! Are you lies? It's isn't a shit. So if you actually gave a shit, you'd go and do it yourself. It bugs the fuck out of me. You have the capacity to do it. It's not like you're broke as fuck and living on the streets yourself. You literally have the capacity to do it. You have it more than anyone else. You were given the money for a reason. What are you doing? I'm just going to pretend I give a fuck. Right. Yeah, I'm taking that money off you because you are misusing it. No, you don't need another castle in the fucking Irish countryside. You're just shitting on everyone around you. You're not a humanitarian. You're actually quite a liar and a hypocrite. Yeah, bugs the shit out of me. Yeah, I need to iron that. Ultimately, it's going to come down to grassroots level. Ultimately, because these people are they're saying they give a shit, but they don't. And it will come down to people who have lived it. Wow, that's really frayed. I don't know if I can keep this one. Ooh. Cloth is like disintegrating. I might have to give it up. I love this dress. It's my green dress. Even I have to give it up. Or maybe I can make it into a skirt. Ooh, it's pushing it. It's still very thin material. Bomb. That's annoying. That's sad. Probably not as sad as Gaza Strip, but okay. So, yeah, my priorities are a bit fucked up with that dress. Cost of living. You should be sharing information, you should be sharing support for other people. Grassroots level is where it's going to be changed, and it's been that way since God knows when. Any humanitarian change has come at grassroots level. Not because some celebrity stood up and said, I give a fuck, but because the people at the bottom said, we don't like this condition, we're going to change it. And that's with any movement that we've had in terms of human rights or anything like that. It's going to have to come from us. People with nothing. I don't know how, but someone out there is fucking smart and can figure it out. Might start with couponing. Do it. You have to. I'm counting on you. I fucking love when you guys do that shit. I do. It's ridiculous how fun I find it. I'm impressed, and I'm rarely impressed. Anyway, I think I've ranted on a bit. What's that, 53 minutes? Holy crap. I'm gonna have to wind it up because I'm actually getting quite hungry. So I will be keeping track of my cost of living crisis situation. Hopefully I can give some tips and pointers for some people trying to save money or anything like that in the next couple of years. Please form some kind of community or coalition to help each other, because that's the only way really, realistically, people have ever got through situations like this. It's no good to be selfish. Do you remember like when we had the COVID lockdown and everybody hoarded toilet paper? How much of a prick was that guy? Whoever that was. Fuck you. I still have flashbacks about not being able to buy toilet paper. I'm still a bit weird about, I gotta make sure I got some. You know, it's that kind of shit that creates ripple effects, which creates further conflict, which is hard to resolve. So work with each other. Share your resources if you can. If you've got resources to share, barter, trade. If you have friends that can do services for you, not weird, sexy services. I'm talking about like know how to fix cars and stuff. Okay, dude, don't make it weird. I'm telling you now, getting pregnant now only compounds problems. Don't. I'm talking like, can they repair things? Do they know how to sew? Do they know how to cook? Do they know how to micromanage their funds so it works to the best advantage? Do they know extreme couponing? Try and work towards something like that. We've got to work together to make the situation easier, because you don't have to be incredibly rich to survive or to live well, to be honest. You just have to have the right information available to you. It's all about, access to the skill sets or information. It's not about I need to be a super genius or I need to have the right public connections or anything like that. It's bullshit. You can learn to do it on your own. It's better to work in a group projects alleviate, hopefully if everyone's pulling their weight, alleviate a lot of the stress in the small jobs. You're going to have like a crew of people and some of them are going to be better at some things than others. I know for a fact I can't cook. I microwave the shit out of things. But if I was in a group of people and they could cook, I could work out the budget to like the ingredients and the costs, like how to alleviate the cost of the ingredients, and then I could give them to them and they could cook something for us. So it's working together to try and get the skill sets and things like that. Although I do prefer microwaves. It's more cost effective. Ovens cost money to run, which I will talk about in my spider project. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have a fantastic, it's a weekend coming up. Fantastic weekend. I hope the stress you're facing during the day or the week or year isn't going to be too bad. We've only just started 2026. Take it easy. And I'll be hopefully doing more podcasts. Hopefully. Lisa.